So hello friends, we are back from the Dine Paths classroom. We are continuing a discussion on pathology. We are discussing pathology, okay? So just give me a second first. Let me sort out here the system. Yeah, okay. Let us sort out the system. Fine. Okay, fine. We had studied the neoplasia. I think we wrote some genes yesterday in the classroom. Now, to start today's discussion is all about genetics of cancer. We are going to study the genetics, okay? And for understanding the genetics, you should have an understanding of cell cycle, which I know already that you forget every time. See, basically, the process of carcinogenesis, is a multi-step process. If I talk about the carcinogenesis is a multi-step process, okay? It's a multi-step process. That means there will be some stepwise manner things will happen, and then finally you will get a product that is cancer, okay? So it should be doing something at a cellular genetic molecular level, isn't it? It should be doing something at a molecular level uh, to cause that cancer. So uh, there is, it's not that genes, there is something that hereditary something is happening. Hereditary predisposition of cancer is always there. There can be also some chronic inflammation which can be causing cancers. For example, we have we have inflammatory bowel disease, IBD people have a highest risk of going into colon cancers. Okay, so it's not only that you have some genetic mutations and you will be having a cancer. There are also chronic inflammations which are producing more type of dysplastic tissues, loss of differentiation is there, and a plasticity is increasing. So that way you will be having a you make that person susceptible, that tissue becomes susceptible to cancer or carcinoma. Now, genetic predisposition, if I speak about genetic predisposition, genetic predisposition, in genetic predisposition, if you want to divide the cancers on the basis of genetics, I'm making you understand it very it's making it more simple for your licensing exam. Okay, this is important for your licensing exam. Okay, so they will allow to make you play with your brain in the exam, make you think, make you remember things. Okay, so how to understand this is genetic predisposition of cancers. I will be dividing them into broad three categories to make you understandable. Okay, so I will bring these under three categories. One is called autosomal dominant inherited cancer syndromes. So autosomal dominant, AD means autosomal dominant, inherited cancer syndromes. Fine. One category is this. Another category is where you have a defective DNA repair. As the best example I gave yesterday is hereditary non-polyposis colon cancer, HNPCC. Okay, so we have a defective DNA repair syndromes. Okay, and we have a familial cancers. These are all having the genetic predisposition. Now, best example for autosomal dominant inherited cancers we can give as, for example, MAN2. And MAN2 is that type of a genetic syndrome in which we are able to see a tissue specificity tumor. What do we mean by tissue specificity? Means if a patient is having a MAN2, which we have learned yesterday, multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2. For example, in the autosomal dominant, if some person is having a MAN2 will be showing a tissue specific cancer, specificity. For what? Tumors. So tumors will be only present in some selected tissues. So for example, we have thyroid, we have parathyroid, So you will be appreciating in these organs also. Adrenal glands, these will be affected. Adrenal glands, okay? These will be affected. Okay. But there is one carcinoma, that is Li-Fraumeni syndrome, where you are which is not, no, it's not having that predilection for cancer. There is not that much increased predilection for the cancer. So remember, exception is Li-Fraumeni syndrome in this. Li-Fraumeni syndrome. Li-Fraumeni syndrome. Basically, why is Li-Fraumeni syndrome happening? Because of P53 mutation. I'll be telling you all about this. So there is no that much increased predilection for the cancers. Fine. If I talk, I'm just giving you a simple thing. Then we'll be reading in detail. Defective DNA repair syndromes means definitely they should be, autosomal recessive. They are autosomal recessive, and whenever any environmental carcinogen is put on that tissue, or you expose a tissue to environmental carcinogen, the DNA becomes unstable. DNA instability because of environmental carcinogen. I'll be telling you carcinogens later on. Environmental carcinogens. Fine. The best example you can give here is HNPCC. What is HNPCC? Hereditary, non-polyposis, cancer, colon cancer, HNPCC. Fine. So what happens here is DNA repair gene mismatch is inactivated. So what happens here is inactivation of DNA mismatch repair gene. DNA mismatch repair gene. Believe me, whatever I'm writing, my dears, it's important. So write in this way only, guys. So what about the familial cancers? Means in familial cancers, what will be happening is, to make it simple, familial, I can say these are those cancers which happens, there is a high frequency in the familial way. Okay, in the families there is a high frequency, but you are not able to see any clean pattern, any clear defined pattern of transmission. What did I say? I said familial cancers are those cancers which are occurring at a high frequency in the families, occurring in the high frequency in the families. And but you are not able without a clear defined pattern of transmission. So you are not able to see any pattern. Okay, and they are mostly early onset. Okay, and you have a patient, you will be appreciating that his close relatives will be having that disease. For example, we have colon. I have seen so many. Colon, ovary, breast, pancreas, guys. Fine. Be clear, guys. Is there any doubt in this? Okay, so you will be appreciating the bilateral tumors, guys, bilateral tumors. Now this was the genetic hereditary predisposition, guys, and we also have the cancers which are non-hereditary. So which non-hereditary conditions will be producing non-hereditary conditions? Are we understanding this terminology, hereditary, non-hereditary, guys? So non-hereditary means there is no genetic predisposition. So for example, we have a cell. This is a cell. Now this cell is proliferating at a very high rate. Now if I had any mutations, or if I proliferate more, do you think that if there was a single mutation and it was a mutation and here will be a, are you accumulating the mutations or not with the production of more proliferation? Yes, you are accumulating. You are actually adding up the mutations, and those mutations will be doing a. So if you tell me, sir, what is the example you can give? I can give the best example from your physiology, that is liver. Liver is doing regeneration. If you do liver cirrhosis, regeneration, repair, regeneration, repair, regeneration, repair, regeneration, repair, regeneration, repair, you are actually increasing the probability of doing errors. The gene is replicating, the protein is produced, the DNA, RNA, protein dogma is being done, and there is a highest chance that you may, you may have that that base pair point mutation may happen. Okay, so in that way, what will happen while liver is undergoing cirrhosis, if you are not able to correct the stress, or if you are not able to bring the liver homeostasis into a normal body homeostasis, what will happen? You are actually making that person, if he is not receiving any medical treatment, or he is not undergoing screening for liver cirrhosis, he is actually making himself the future patient of hepatocellular carcinoma. He is making himself the patient of hepatocellular carcinoma. This happened not because of any genetics, but this happened because of more regeneration, more repair, more regeneration, more repair, inflammation, repair, regeneration, regeneration, regeneration. All this led to the susceptibility of the person to become the future patient of hepatocellular carcinoma. Or you do some sort of metaplasia due to any cause I have taught you, or you do any kind of a dysplasia, you do any kind of a dysplasia, you do any sort of hyperplasia. Hyperplasia was itself increasing the accumulating the genetic mutations, and those genetic mutations were actually the raw materials for making a carcinoma. Or I am having a chronic inflammation state, for example, a person of inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. These patients are there's a high risk of developing the colon cancer. So what else can you say? You can say any chronic inflammatory state, chronic inflammatory state, chronic inflammatory state. So in chronic inflammatory state, the person is becoming more susceptible. For example, a patient of IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, I'm writing fast because we don't want to waste time in writing. Okay, we have to understand. So we are making it more IBD patients, making them more susceptible to colon cancer. Fine. Now, what is chronic inflammation doing? For example, you have any inflammation, you are actually attracting neutrophils. Neutrophils will be producing reactive oxygen species. Free radical mechanism, killing, isn't it? Superoxide dismutase, everything is there. But when you produce a free radical, actually free radical is basically a bullet. It's a bullet for a base pair. So what you are actually making, you are increasing the genomic instability by producing these free radicals, increasing genomic instability. Okay, are we clear? Now, once you are producing during inflammation, you are also producing some growth factors so that you can regenerate. Are you actually increasing these growth factors for also other cells which are actually undergoing that proliferation? Fine. Are you actually increasing the stem cells in that region? Are you increasing the stem cells in that chronic inflammation, inflammatory bowel disease, regeneration, repair, regeneration, repair, regeneration, repair? Sir, why are you speaking regeneration, repair? Because you are actually insulting the tissue. You are insulting the tissue, you are having a repair. Insulting the tissue, having a repair. You are actually increasing the chances. So when you are repairing, you are actually making a new cell, you are making a new protein for making a new cell. And you are making a new RNA for making the new cell, that new protein. So DNA, RNA, protein, central dogma. So what is happening is you are actually increasing, you are making the susceptibility, you are increasing the chances of having that carcinoma. Fine. So once you increase the quantity of stem cells, maybe that any sort of a mutagen can convert that thing into a carcinoma. Are we clear? See, Writing is not important. Writing is also important, not that way. But understanding and then writing is important. That's what I want you to realize. It's, you know, material is available everywhere, but understanding what the concept is, I'm making you understand the concept. Because carcinoma is a difficult topic which you people also told me. That's why I'm making it more simple, very much simple. Fine. Now this carcinogenesis is your, you know, multi-step process. You are having some genetic mutations. You are having telomerase activation, because you know telomerase is actually, once you activate telomerase, what you are doing, you are actually increasing the chances of, you know, livelihood of the cell. Angiogenesis is being increased. Invasion is being done so that it can invade and reach to other sites. Cancer, it's all about cancer, metastasis. Okay, fine. Uh, so what is tumor progression, by the way? When I say carcinogenesis, there is a concept of tumor progression. What does it mean? Your tumor progression means you are accumulating the mutations, isn't it? As already discussed. Okay, fine. Now there are two concepts. One concept is called driver mutation. Another mutation is called passenger mutation. Driver mutation, passenger mutation. By the way, do you want to drink dark chocolate? Okay, I drank your part, don't worry, okay? No, actually I'm missing two people here. So I drank only myself, okay? What can I do? You are not here, so but how can I? So this driver mutation and passenger mutation. It was tasty, isn't it? Isn't it tasty, guys? Yeah, yes sir, it is tasty, isn't it? You enjoyed, I think. I'm drinking your part also. Yeah, so driver mutation is, what is driver mutation? Driver mutation means if a mutation is happening and that mutation produces a malignant phenotype. You know phenotype? Yeah, phenotype, you understand. So if I have a mutation, so what happened in driver is that I had a mutation and that mutation produced a malignant phenotype. You have a malignant phenotype. You had a malignant phenotype. This mutation which is producing this malignant phenotype will be called a driver mutation. I will be using these words during my discussion, so please understand. Fine. And if a mutation is there which is not showing any phenotype variety, not showing you any phenotypic results, will be called a passenger mutation. So if I have no phenotypic results, so I had a mutation and that mutation did not produce any phenotypic results, I will be saying it is called passenger mutation. Fine. Are we clear? Do we remember these 6 hallmarks of cancer? Basic 6 hallmarks: self-sufficiency, insensitivity, evasion, limitless, angiogenesis, tissue invasion, and metastasis. Isn't it? What were the 6 hallmarks? Let me explain it. It was self-sufficiency in growth signals, insensitivity to anti-growth signals, evasion of apoptosis, limitless replicative potential, that is immortality, angiogenesis, tissue invasion, and metastasis. And some others will be saying that Warburg effect, and but 6 principal hallmarks of cancer, or what some standard books are writing, okay, that I'm telling you. Otherwise there is also the escape from an immune system, changing your metabolism, the Warburg effect, okay. So carcinogenesis, we have many ways that we can start a carcinogenesis. So there should be first some insult. There should be first some insult, isn't it? So this multi-step process, which you are saying is having that accumulation of multiple genetic mutations. That will depend whether it's from a sperm or a somatic mutation. Okay. But mutations, by the way, should there be some insult or not? Should there be some insult to the cell first so that we can start the this carcinogenesis? Yes, sir. So there, then we should know at least first the insult. Then we only can go inside and see the genetic. Okay. So to begin with that, I want to make it easy for you. There is first step. It can be a chemical carcinogenesis. Most important, which will be asked, which chemicals can cause cancer? Chemical carcinogenesis. So for example, you have smoking. Smoking causes lung carcinoma. Aflatoxin. Aflatoxin causes hepatocellular carcinoma. Aniline dye, bladder carcinoma. Are we writing? Vinyl chloride, hepatic angiosarcoma. Angiosarcoma. Okay. Beryllium. Beryllium. Lung carcinoma. Okay. Nickel. Lung carcinoma, oropharyngeal carcinoma. Benzene, acute myeloid leukemia. Fine. Have you written chromatin? Chromatin. Don't think chromatin, okay? Chromatin substances, chemicals. Chromatin causes lung carcinoma. Cadmium, prostate carcinoma. Asbestos, lung carcinoma. Esophageal carcinoma. What else? Gastric, go downstairs. Gastric carcinoma. Okay. So these are the chemicals which are known to cause this insult and can make this. Okay. Sun exposure. Let me put it under radiation, I think. Okay. So radiation carcinogenesis. Radiation carcinogenesis. You just keep writing and you have to learn it at home. Radiation carcinogenesis can cause, if you talk excess sun exposure, excess sun exposure will cause squamous cell carcinoma, SCC, and basal cell carcinoma of skin, and melanoma, malignant. Okay. In the chemicals, you should also write smoked foods. Smoked foods. You know, you eat smoked foods. Okay. And those are rich in nitrosamines. I hope you know this from biochemistry. So what will they cause? Adenocarcinoma. 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 Adenocarcinoma of what? Stomach. Adenocarcinoma of stomach. Alcohol. 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 Alcohol causes what? Let us start with mouth. Carcinoma mouth. Carcinoma esophagus. And plus, if you are taking cigarette with it, wow, what a combination. Then yeah, be ready. It's having that specific association. Then going to liver, HCC, hepatocellular carcinoma, and that too in the setting of cirrhosis of liver, and that too in the setting of cirrhosis of liver. Okay. And remember, Do you want you to give a rule? Can I give you a rule? Remember, from the hepatology medicine, Harrison, all forms of cirrhosis will make the liver predisposed to hepatocellular carcinoma. Any form of cirrhosis will cause hepatocellular carcinoma. Fine, so you can write it by yourself. Now, if you take a low fiber diet, can anyone tell me what will happen? Low fiber diet. You are taking less fibers in your diet. You are making yourself predisposed to adenocarcinoma of colon. Adenocarcinoma of colon. If you take a high fat diet, what will happen? Which carcinoma? Breast carcinoma. I hope you can remember this. Breast and fat. Okay. Easy to remember, isn't it? Now, it was seen, should I give a pharmacological relation? It was seen in the pregnant women who were taking diethyl stilbestrol. I have taught this. Diethyl stilbestrol. The female who were taking this DES during their pregnancy, what happened? When they had a female, if that was a female child, female baby born, that female was having clear cell adenocarcinoma of vagina. So they developed clear cell adenocarcinoma of vagina. Clear cell adenocarcinoma of vagina. Are we clear? So these are some chemicals you can write, by the way. I remember them. This much you can remember at least. So let us go to radiation oncogenesis. So what is radiation doing? Radiation, you are exposed yourself in the SCC, you are exposing yourself to ultraviolet radiation. When you are exposing yourself to ultraviolet radiation, you are actually making yourself vulnerable to squamous cell carcinoma and basal cell carcinoma and melanomas. So what is happening? There is production of dimer. There is dimer formation. So we have thymine dimer formation. Between the thymine we have, between the two thymine pairs we have the DNA dimer formation. Okay, but you have a repair mechanism in your body, in the genes, so that they can repair this abnormal formation. Okay, and this has been seen in a skin tumor. This dimer is called xeroderma pigmentosum. Important question. Xeroderma pigmentosum. What is xeroderma pigmentosum? It is an autosomal dominant. First thing, it is autosomal recessive. Sorry, extremely sorry, my mistake. Autosomal recessive. It's autosomal recessive. Okay. So what is the defect? The defect is we can't repair. So failure of DNA excision repair process or mechanism. Fine. This was about UV radiation. In the radiation, this was UV. Now I tell you about ionizing radiation, like we radiologists in the hospital, isn't it? Ionizing radiation. So ionizing radiation is basically seen that it causes so many historical cancers. I will tell you the number. So one is skin cancer and myeloid leukemias. There is, we take, people, uranium miners, uranium miners. So uranium, radioactive, isn't it? So lung cancer is caused in the uranium miners. So they will be giving you a clinical case that the person had undergone he is a miner by profession and all that. So they will be giving you symptoms, maybe testing your radiology, maybe they test your pathology in that, they give you a pathological slide or they give you a pharmacological question with that. So you have to remain ready with everything. So if you understand every concept clearly, then it will become easy for you to interpret. Okay. Now, in patients of like we give radiation therapy in some patients, okay, we are giving radiation therapy in head or neck. They are showing development of thyroid cancer. Thyroid cancer. Fine. Now, that all that blasts, atomic blasts happened. No, the survivors of atomic blasts, isn't it? So it has been shown that they developed acute myeloid leukemia. Please remember this myeloid, don't confuse acute myeloid leukemia and chronic myeloid leukemia. Okay, and there is a, by the way, osteo disease, that is osteosarcoma. Osteosarcoma is seen in radium watch dial workers. Okay, there. Yeah. Chernobyl or everything. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Are we able to understand the chemical carcinogenesis, guys? Radiation on carcinogenesis, yeah. So should I give a microbiological review here, microbiology association? No, we are learning integrated. We are doctors. We should know integration. Should I give a microbiology here? What microbiology with cancer? So microbiology and cancer. Right, like this third point. Microbiology and cancer. Okay. And carcinogenesis you should write. Carcinogenesis. So number one. Wow. Medicine is so easy, guys. Medicine is so interesting. I love medicine. Human papilloma virus. I will be teaching you in virology. Causes cervical carcinoma. So we have microbes who are causing carcinogenesis, isn't it? Who are making you susceptible to carcinogenesis. Okay, that infection. So they are basically called cancer causing microbes or oncogenic microbes. Fine. So you have HPV. HPV causes which type, by the way? Anyone? HPV 16 and 18. They cause cervical carcinoma, penile carcinoma, anal carcinoma, head cancer, neck cancer. Okay, it's important, guys. It's important. I can't stress how much important it is. Okay. Then we have Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori or pylori, whatever. H. pylori you call it. So H. pylori is causing gastric adenocarcinoma. Gastric adenocarcinoma. Gastric adenocarcinoma and maltoma. Maltoma. Or you also call it malt lymphoma. Malt lymphoma. HTLV1. HTLV1. How we remember this HTLV1? Easy to remember. TL. So here I will be writing adult T cell leukemia or lymphoma. Adult T cell leukemia. Okay. So TL T cell leukemia. Okay. We also have a, another microbe, that is Schistosoma hematobium. Schistosoma hematobium. Schistosoma, I had taught you last time. Hematobium. This causes bladder squamous cell carcinoma. Squamous cell carcinoma of bladder. Hematobium. So squamous cell carcinoma of bladder. Squamous cell carcinoma of bladder. Okay. We, by the way, have, do you know chlamydia? I had taught you in microbiology. Chlamydia. Chlamydia was causing ocular lymphoma. ocular lymphoma. Okay, we had HBV, hepatitis B virus, hepatitis C virus. It causes hepatocellular carcinoma, hepatocellular carcinoma. Or we have HHV8, guys. HHV8 causes Kaposi sarcoma. Kaposi sarcoma. Are we clear? Kaposi sarcoma, guys. We also had a liver fluke. I had taught you, that is Chlorsis sinensis, cholangiocarcinoma it was causing, isn't it? Liver fluke, which is called, what is the name of the liver fluke, guys? The fluke is called Chlorsis sinensis. It causes cholangiocarcinoma. Cholangiocarcinoma. Cholangiocarcinoma, guys. Okay. Or you have a kissing virus, isn't it? Do you know kissing virus? Ah, people are getting activated, isn't it? Guys are becoming so innocent, isn't it? As if you don't know, isn't it? Where did it go? We have lost. Yeah, here it is. Where it is? Yeah. So what is Epstein-Barr virus, isn't it? Kissing. Epstein. It spreads to kiss, isn't it? Epstein-Barr virus. It causes. Let us start telling you all the lymphomas. But how much I remember is Burkitt's lymphoma. Burkitt's lymphoma. Hodgkin's lymphoma. What else? Nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Nasopharyngeal carcinoma. What else? Primary CNS lymphoma. But this won't be in the immunocompetent. Remember, this will be in definitely a immunocompromised patient, AIDS patient or steroid taking patient. Okay. Are we clear with these all these important cancers? Yeah. Please remember them. Learn them at home. Otherwise, you will get problem in life. So did I tell you that there are also some inflammations which are causing carcinoma? Inflammations causing carcinoma. Yeah. Yeah. So let us write their examples at least, isn't it? So inflammatory carcinomas, carcinogenesis, you can say. How much number should we write? Fourth. So fourth should be inflammatory carcinogenesis. Inflammatory carcinogenesis. So inflammatory carcinogenesis, I told you, inflammatory bowel disease, IBD. IBDs are two. Ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, isn't it? Ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. So this ulcerative colitis, there is a high risk of in both these to have adenocarcinoma of colon. Adenocarcinoma of colon. Okay. By the way, can you tell me what are the factors that can cause these ulcerative colitis to give you an integration? Yeah. What are the factors causing ulcerative colitis? Okay, you're right. I know you don't study. Don't worry. So remember, smoking is having a high risk. People who smoke, they have a high risk of having Crohn's disease. So smoking, uh, oral contraceptive pill use, okay, appendectomy, removing the appendectomy. You have a increased risk of having this. Vitamin D deficiency has both. It can increase the risk for ulcerative colitis also and Crohn's disease. What else? Yeah. So if there is an antibiotic usage less than 1 year of age, that increases both risks, ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. Do we remember the risk factors? I think you haven't studies. Go and check Robbins, guys. Robbins, Harrison. Please study these things. It's important. You as a doctor. So this is just I gave you a correlation by the way. So IBDs have a high risk of having that adenocarcinoma. Okay. Um, yeah. Now, what else can we think? You know Marjolin ulcer? Marjolin, J. Okay, Marjolin ulcer. So Marjolin ulcer has a high susceptibility. Burns, you know burns? Yeah. So burns, you have squamous cell carcinoma. Squamous cell carcinoma. Today I wrote like a OPD, isn't it? Like we write in the OPD. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Now, what genes can produce this mutation? Okay. Hey guys, what genes can produce this mutation? So let us write. Let us write this like this. So you can have mutation either in. So let us talk about mutations. So you can have mutations either in growth promoting genes, which is called proto-oncogenes. So proto-oncogenes are normal genes. Please understand, proto-oncogenes should be present in you. Proto-oncogenes are basically normal genes. And if I mutate, see here, if I mutate means proto-oncogene mutation. What happens? Oncogene comes into existence. Oncogene is a cancer gene, isn't it? Can we understand? So wherever you see proto-oncogene, you think it is normal. You should think it is normal. It should be a part of your body. But if you mutate the proto-oncogene, then an oncogene will come into existence and you will have a cancer. Okay. So this is first concept you have to understand. Otherwise you confuse the books. So proto-oncogene is a normal gene. But if you mutate it, if you cause mutation of this gene, you will be producing an oncogene. And this oncogene, what is gene producing? What does gene produce? DNA gives RNA, RNA gives protein. Central dogma of molecular biology. Central dogma. So this produces DNA, DNA produces RNA, RNA is produce protein. Protein is called oncoprotein. Oncoprotein. Now this oncoprotein, can I use this oncoprotein as a marker when there is a gene, when there is a cell, cancer cell producing a cancer? See, think like this. There should not be any mugging up of concept. Can I use this as a marker? Oncoprotein. I was doing a long back research on this carcinogenesis a long time back, I think. Okay. So is this oncoprotein? Yeah, this oncoprotein. Can I also produce a drug therapy so that I can destroy this oncoprotein? Can I produce a pharmacological drug to destroy this oncoprotein? Very nice answer, very nice. So just remember like that. I don't want to explain that thing here. So oncoprotein will cause proliferation of the mutated cell and will finally give you a mass that you call a tumor. Guys. Okay. Now, what type of mutation can happen in this proto-oncogene? Let us talk in detail. What type of mutation can occur on this proto-oncogene? Okay. Either, now see, this is the cell and this cell is having a receptor for some protein. This protein will come here and interact and give you any growth signal. Okay. If I am producing more growth factors, am I letting this cell to proliferate more? If I produce P more, if I produce a growth factor comes to the growth factor receptor. Can I cause more proliferation of this because I will be increasing the stimulation of these things, isn't it? I will be stimulating them. Or if I have a mutation that I have more amount of growth factor receptors, so you are actually expanding your hands to make you more susceptible to cancer. Either you will be producing a growth factor more, which will be actually increasing and increasing and stimulating and stimulating and stimulating, or you increase the receptors on the cell so that you are actually telling everyone, please come, cause cancer, proliferate, isn't it? Or the middleman, there is a middleman in the cell, isn't it? There is a middleman, mediator of signaling, or he is also corrupt. He got corrupted, mutated. He is sending wrong signals to the cell. He is telling him to multiply and multiply and multiply. Guys, can we think? Can we think? So we can also have signal transducing protein. This is called signal transducing protein. Transduces the signal, acts as a transducer. Signal transducing protein. Signal transducing protein causes, if there is a mutation in this, can produce a proto-oncogene mutation. Okay, or you have a regulatory proteins inside. Those are called nuclear regulatory protein, which are nuclear regulatory protein, isn't it? So nuclear regulatory protein are inside your this nucleus, isn't it? For example, this is a DNA and I keep it here periphery. Okay, I keep it here for your understanding. So this is called nuclear regulatory protein. I can have mutation in this also. Mutation. Okay, I will take hash as mutation. Okay, during my whole discussion I will use hash as mutation. Okay, when I write that there is I speak for example skin mutation, so skin cell mutation, so that we can understand fast. Okay, I'll be using hash for the mutations. So this is the concept. So which places do we have? So let me make a diagram for you, okay, so that you can understand. So basically, what is your carcinogenesis all about, by the way? We did not wrote that, I think. So what is that carcinogenesis about? So we have some steps in the carcinogenesis, which we have already explained, but I want to give a broad one-liner for you. Please make a box like this and write what you are actually steps of your carcinogenesis. You are first initiating something. You are initiating something, then you are promoting it, then you are converting it, then you are progressing it, progression, then you are expanding that monoclonality, monoclonal. This is how I keep small tidbits for to remember for exam. Okay, just small tidbits so that we can remember. Expanding the monoclonality and then metastasizing to draining tissues, isn't it? Or highly susceptible tissues. Okay, highly susceptible tissues. I hope my handwriting is bad, isn't it? Because we are trying to study, understand more and write less. Okay, fine. So this was the box which I wanted to tell you, have a concept. So let us make this proto-oncogene mutation, study it under the diagram. So proto-oncogene mutation. So this proto-oncogene mutation, what is happening is I have a cell, and in this cell I have a DNA, isn't it? And I have some nuclear regulatory proteins inside. Nuclear regulatory proteins. Please try to draw this diagram, otherwise you will not understand neoplasia. So this is the nuclear regulatory proteins. Fine. And there should be some receptors here on the surface. So I will make some receptors with a different color. So I have some receptors. I have some receptors, guys. I have some receptors. The first year was all about drawing, isn't it? I loved first year because I was drawing so many analytical diagrams to remember and understand. I was making myself to understand only. No one taught me. I was learning it again and again, writing it again and again, because practice gives you that edge, isn't it? So this is a receptor. Can I say this is a growth factor receptor on which the growth factor will land like a helicopter? Growth factor receptor. This is a helipad. What helipad? Don't say it is on the book. Just telling you, helipad, isn't it? Here you have H, isn't it? H. Okay. So on this you will, who will land? Helicopter. Who is helicopter? Growth factor, isn't it? So growth factor will land on this. Growth factor is coming, and this is the helicopter. Okay. So this is your helicopter. Let me make a helicopter for you. Okay. Because you all love to fly with me, isn't it? So this is your helicopter for time being. Okay. Till the time we are resuming all those, everything resumes. Till that time, this is your helicopter. Okay. So this is another helicopter. Okay. Another type of helicopter. This is your helicopter. Feels like more like an apple, isn't it? And this is your, I made a very nice helicopter for you. Okay. It feels like these are apples and pears landing on the growth factor receptor. Okay. So this is your GF. Don't think some other wrong things. GF is not girlfriend. It's growth factor. Okay. Growth factor. Eh? The people are so much happy, isn't it? When we write GF, then some people get happy, isn't it? Yeah. So growth factor receptor. And you also have some see, growth factor is not going inside because it's not maybe lipid soluble. That's why it's outside telling the cell. So there should be some intermediate who should tell the nucleus that you have to do something. So should there be some connections, kismat connections? Should there be some connections so that they can tell this nucleus, they can talk? Should there be something so that they can talk with this? Should there be something so that they can talk? Should there be something, guys, so that they can talk? You are not talking, guys. See, these cells are talking, but you are not talking. So this should be called signal transducing proteins. Signal transducing proteins. Signal transducing proteins. Okay. So now let me give you examples of where, so that it becomes easy. So where do we have mutation in a growth factor? So proteins. So this is all about proto-oncogenes. See how this is happening. So what mutations at what level can happen? It can be a growth factor. For example, happens in HGF. HGF is a growth factor for causes hepatocellular carcinoma. Number 1. Number 2, FGF causes bladder carcinoma. Number 3, VEGF causes what did VEGF cause, by the way, in the brain? Glioma. Okay, are we writing? It's making your life easy. Otherwise, you will forget it, guys. I promise you. Are we writing or not? This is how Harrison's want you to explain. Okay, Harrison's and that's textbook. Very nice books. So, or there can be a receptor mutation, growth factor receptor. He is corrupted, isn't it? Corruption. Cancer is corruption, isn't it? Do you think that cancer is corruption? Yeah, it's a corruption sort of a thing. So growth factor receptor, what things can happen? What are the diseases in which there is growth factor receptor mutation? It is HER2. I hope you should know HER2 mutation is seen in breast carcinoma. HER2 new. HER is for girls, so you can remember breast carcinoma. Okay, that's why I told you in the beginning you have to remember, but you did not listen to me at that time, learning the genes. So whatever homework I give you, you should learn that, guys. See how it becomes handy here. HER2, LK1, LK1, ALCL for adenocarcinoma of lung, adenocarcinoma lung. Okay, next, c-KIT mutation, c-KIT mutation. c-KIT mutation seen in acute myeloid leukemia and seminomas. Seminoma and what? GIST. What is GIST? GI stromal tumors. Okay, fine. Okay, guys. So should there also be some problem with this signal transducing protein? Should there be also some problem with the signal transducing protein? Yeah. So what are the what disease what cancers can we see where we have the signal transducing protein problem? It is RAS. And remember, this RAS is the most common mutation you can see, prototype mutation. Let me write RAS, signal protein, RAS mutations. Yes. So RAS mutations we have lung, bladder, pancreas, colon, thyroid. These regions we have. Okay. So do we remember mix? C, MIC, N, MIC, L, MIC, C, MIC, N, milk, not milk. C, MIC, N, MIC, L, MIC. So these MIC mutations are basically this nuclear regulatory protein mutations. So nuclear regulatory protein mutations are, I have made it easy, guys. C, MIC, N. First you should write in the copy CNL. So remember, then MIC, MIC. C, MIC for Burkitt's. C, MIC for colon. N, neuroblastoma. L, lung carcinoma. Which type lung? Small cell, small cell. Are we clear? I hope I have made it easy. I have tried to make it so much easy. Otherwise, it would consume you at least 4 pages of your book and read it. So I have tried to do everything at this point to make you understand. Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed today's topic, and I will be making neoplasia more interesting. Don't worry. So please subscribe to the channel. There are 2 channels. Some people were asking me which channels there are, although there are so many subscribers coming every day. So I am thankful for your subscriptions, and I would try to teach you up to the mark. Okay, there's no problem. But please let me know in the text message or something, or in the mail ID, that which topics you feel are difficult, because some people are now sending the topics, and I'm trying to thinking of making videos on that. Some people are asking surgery videos, some people are asking radiology, some people are asking pediatrics. So don't worry, guys, please be patient. Actually, due to my busy schedule, I'm not able to make, but yeah, I will be doing all those requests which you have sent me in the mail. So I'll be making videos on that. So please have patience and learn what videos I upload every day. At least finish these subjects first, basic subjects. So mostly I will be making videos on basics first, so that you have a basic understanding of basics. Okay. And then we will make the videos on clinical. Okay. And definitely I will be making videos on your surgery. Okay. It will be a live OT session. In the OT I will be showing you. So surgery also will be there. So don't worry. Just wait for the time. Due to this corona disturbance, everything is disturbed. The schedule is so much busy that everything has to be done online. So I'm sorry for the wait you have, but I will be making. So this is actually the Netflix of these two. Time Bass and Chambers is actually a Netflix where you can directly search any topic. I put it on YouTube itself. You can put any word on the YouTube and just write the name with it, Time Bass or Chambers, and you can get the video, I think. Okay. So I'll be making that much videos so that you get supplemented with any information you are lagging behind. So thank you very much for your patience and time and listening. God bless you and keep learning. Success will one day kiss your feet. Take care. Bye-bye.